In this video, I will be guiding you through the directory structure of Pimcore, and I've opened the Pimcore directory, which we unpacked in the last lectures here in my PHP Storm. PHP Storm is a product from a company named JetBrains. They also do another product called IntelliJ. PHP Storm is coming with a 30 days free trial, and if you are developing with PHP, I can highly recommend it. Personally, I couldn't live without it anymore, but essentially you can also use any other text editor, just that PHP Storm has a lot of beautiful and neat features. I will not explain them right now. Head over to the JetBrains website. They explain it there extensively. Throughout this course, I will be working solely in PHP Storm when I'm working with PHP. So if you want to follow this tutorial exactly like I do, then you should install PHP Storm. And if you know what you're doing, you can use any text editor, essentially. Okay, back to the directory structure of Pimcore. Our directory structure mainly consists of a few files and a few directories. The first directory is the Pimcore directory. We are not doing anything in this directory. This is a Pimcore, like a library from Pimcore. And when the system updates itself, then it will update this directory and eventually the vendors directory. The directories we are working in is either plugins, which is currently empty, or website. And here it gets more interesting. In the website directory, there is a config directory. And in this config directory, there are some sample files. And we also have a war directory. And there we have another config directory. So if Pimcore loads any configs, it will first look into the var config directory and then the config directory. And you can overwrite those. And that's pretty cool if you are having a production or development config. You can have them in different directories. We go further. We have a controllers directory, and in this controllers directory, we will be working a lot because we have here our controllers. And unlike in other model view controller frameworks, we just need to define a few controllers and we can then work from there. And I will show you this extensively in the next lectures. Then we have a lib directory. In this lib directory, we currently have no objects, but we have a website controller action. And this website controller action is extending the Pimcore controller action front end, and is this action controller is extended by all of our controllers in our front end. So if you want to add, for example, any JavaScript files or any CSS files or anything, we can conveniently do this here. The abstraction is really nicely made, and I will also show you this later. Then we have a tool directory, which has some website tools. I've not really worked with them, but essentially all the website library classes are coming into this website lib and then here into these folders. Then we have a models directory, which is currently empty. And then we are ready at the var directory. The var has areas. They are empty, and I'm not working with those areas. I'm working with the view areas later. We have assets. If we upload any assets, we have backups and cache classes and so on. The only two interesting directories I always found are the log directory. Here in, let me show you this, website var log, there is our log files, and we can overwrite those files in a constant PHP if we want to. I will also show you this later, how you can do this, but it's only a minor adjustment to make. If we develop a normal blog or any normal corporate website, we usually don't have to touch it. This only comes into play if we are in special environments, such as cluster systems, or any other highly scalable systems. For now, we can just leave it as it is. If Pimcore is sending any emails with the email framework, then it will put the emails that it sent out into the email folder. And again, I will go back to this config folder because I want to show you the system Php config that was generated when we installed our Pimcore. And if we have to change any system related settings, for example, we put Pimcore onto another server, then we head over to the website var config system php, and you enter a new database user, password, or the database credentials. If you go to the admin panel and to the settings and website settings, then this is exactly the settings that you can change over there. So head over to the next directory, which is the views directory. And this is pretty much the same layout of the directory structure that we have with the Send framework, where we have a module, and in the module we have a controller, a view, and objects, and form, and so on. So here we have our controllers, and here we have our views, and our default controller has a default action, and in the views we have a script for the default controller and a default action. Same goes with the web-to-print controller, which I will not use throughout this tutorial, but for the sake of this lecture, we have a web-to-print controller and a default action and a container action, and here should be a default PHP and a container PHP. Then we have a layouts directory where we will put our layout inside later on. And we have an areas directory, which we will use at the end of this course. When you call the website, then the first thing that will be executed is the index PHP. And the index PHP is essentially just calling a Pimcore run. And before it's including a startup PHP. And there, if you need any changes from anything that Pimcore is defining during startup, you can find it here. They are having them here. They also have it documented in their documentation, but I found it more easy to directly dive into the source code. So if you have any custom configuration directory, if you want to have your asset directory in another directory, or if you want to have the log directory somewhere else, you can define it in a constants PHP, and then you override it in that way before Pimcore is booting up the process. In the next video, we will have a look at how documents are actually working.